Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. So the first look is going to be this dark green smoky eye, and I'm going to be using the Born This Way concealer by Too Faced to use as a primer, and I'm going to be using a concealer brush to pat it on, and patting it on will make the primer or concealer tacky. And I like using a concealer as well because it also cleans up underneath my brows and it just makes the shadows adhere a lot better. So I'm going to be using the Jaclyn Hill Armed and Gorgeous palette by Morphe, and this is how the palette looks. It looks really beautiful, and I'm going to be using this first shade, this deep brown shade, and this is in the shade Prowl, and I'm going to use packing motions into the crease. And don't worry if it gets on the lid. Everybody's eye shape is different. This brush tends to lean and pack on towards my lid area, so it's not going to be an issue because we're going to clean that area up anyways. So I'm going to just pack that into the crease. So I'm going to start with the darker shadows first and then working my way up to the lighter shadows. And also for the lid area, we're going to pack that green shadow, so it's not an issue if you do see a little bit of that on there. So I'm going to take this shadow called Secure, and I'm going to use a small pointy blending brush for this, and I'm going to pack it right above that Prowl shadow. And I want to make this shadow prominent. I want to make it bright, so I'm going to just use packing motions instead of blending motions, only because when you start blending it starts to be a little diffused and it's not gonna show up as you know the shadow would show up. So I'm taking my time packing this shadow on, and then once I'm done packing it on, I'm gonna blend that out and I'm gonna apply another shadow on top of it. So I'm gonna use VIP for the brow bone area, and this shadow is very pigmented. I love this shadow. This is like one of my favorites in the palette. So I'm going to pack that on just to give it a highlight into the brow bone area, but then I'm gonna use a different shadow that's gonna be in between Secure and VIP. So this is in the shadow Access, and I'm going to take a more of a flimsy blending brush, and I'm going to just blend that right above, right in between those shadows, and it's going to be a transition from the deep shade to the light shade, so that way the VIP shade doesn't look too harsh. So I'm going to take this Maybelline eyeliner and I'm going to pack that onto the lid. So remember how I said we're going to clean that up, so we're going to just pack it with a black eyeliner instead, so that way my green shadow can come out really deep. That way it's not like a light green. I want it to be a very smoky eye, so this is how I'm going to show you guys how to do it. So I'm gonna take Top Secret, and it's like that money green but like deeper, but I wanted to make this a lot more deeper, so this is going to be it, and I'm going to pack it on. And I had issues with this green. I've noticed that like this green is a little patchy, and it took me a few times for me to pack that shadow onto the lid. So just make sure that you really pack it on, or you have like a base that's going to really adhere to that shadow. So I'm gonna take the Stila All Day waterproof eyeliner. I'm not going to do a wing for this look. I'm just going to map out where I'm gonna put my lashes. This is the lashes from Holly Boone Cosmetics, and I'm going to list it down below or put it on the screen what type of lashes they are. So this is how they look. So I'm going to use that black eyeliner from Maybelline. I'm going to pack that into the waterline area because gel liners tend to last longer than actual pencil. I'm going to really make the bottom lash line area really smoky because this eye look, why not? Like, it's really smoky. So I'm going to take that All the shadows that I apply into the crease, I'm going to then apply that to my lower lash line area, and make sure it's really blown out but not muddy looking, so that way there's like a transition from the bottom up, just like how with the crease area, the bottom up but the opposite way, if that makes sense. So I'm going to take this shadow coin and apply that into my inner tear duct, and to really brighten that up, just to give it a little different look to it. So I'm going to take this gold, and then I'm taking the VIP shadow and pack it right on top, so it could not look too gold, but just like a hint of like that shimmer onto the inner eye. So I'm gonna apply some mascara onto the bottom lashes and a little bit where I did have a little powder onto the false lashes. Okay, moving on to the face. So I'm gonna take this bronzer and highlight palette from Morphe Cosmetics, and I'm going to pack that bronzer onto the cheekbone area, and just to like contour a little bit, and also underneath my lip and the sides of my nose. And then I'm gonna take this highlight right here. I wasn't a fan of it only because it was more pinky and iridescent, so these weren't like the highlighters I would go and reach for all the time when I want to do a makeup look. It didn't match with the eye makeup. It looks pretty, but it just wasn't it. So I'm going to take the blush palette from Morphe, and I'm going to apply that onto the cheekbone area just to give my face some flush of color. So I'm going to spray some setting spray, and just to give my face like a dewy look instead of looking too matte. So I'm going to line my lips, and I'm going to list everything down below if you want to know what I'm using. For my lips, I'm going to be using the Fenty Beauty lip paint in Unbutton. Unbutton is like that peachy nude, so this will go with the makeup look. I don't want to do an intense bold lip. I just want to make it neutral. And on top of that, I'm going to use a lip gloss from Morphe brushes in the shade Flower Crown. This is the first look, and I hope you guys like this one. I really love how creative and bold this eye makeup look is with just the Jaclyn Hill palette. So now I'm going to move on to the next look that's more wearable and easy to do. I'm going to use this Revolution base, and I'm going to apply that all over the lid just to give me a nice canvas to apply the eyeshadows. Alright, so back to this palette. I'm going to be using this shade right here, and I'm going to apply that into the crease. This look is going to be a neutral look, so we're going to just go light-handed with this type of eyeshadow look. So I'm going to use a taper blending brush to apply that into the crease, and just making sure that it's well diffused and blended so that the other shadows can look good on top of it. So I'm now going to move on to this shadow right here, and I'm going to apply that into the crease as well, picking up a little bit of it and just going slow and building my way up to giving it like a depth look into the crease. And you want to make sure that you don't pick up too much all at once, because then it's just going to be hard to blend out. Now I'm going in with this deeper reddy brown shade, and I'm going to apply that into the outer eye, and I'm using a flat shadow brush to apply this, so that way it can be very opaque. And then I'm going to take my Wayne Goss blending brush to just blend that out. And I noticed that with this shadow it was a bit hard to blend out. It likes to set in its ways. It doesn't want to blend nicely. So I just wanted to put that out there, that I've noticed that with this shadow. I want to blend that out really well, blending it going inwards into the crease and also blending out the outer edge so it doesn't look harsh. Now I'm going to take this shadow right here, and with this shadow you do have to apply it with your fingers. It's one of those where it's hard to pick up with a brush, so you have to apply it with your fingers. And I really like this shadow. It's like that bronzy coin shade, but it's just so hard to apply with a brush, and it does kind of mold in a certain way where it's very soft. Reminds me of the ColourPop shadows. You do have to apply with your fingers. Now I'm gonna take this shade right here. I really love this one. I want to apply it all over the lid, and I'm packing it very lightly on top of that shadow, so that way it can kind of pop a little bit, because it did look a bit flat. It didn't appear as it did on the pan, so I just wanted to make it pop just a little bit, brighten it up with a little bit of that white shade. Now I'm going in with my Catrice liquid liner, and it's in Dating Joe Black, and I'm going to do a small wing for this look. You can skip this step if you want to. Alright, so for mascara, I'm taking my Essence Get Big Lashes, and it's really good. And I did apply some falsies. The one that I used is from HMB Cosmetics, which is Holly Boom's line, Style Everything. So now I'm gonna move on to the face. So I'm taking this Morphe Brushes 8L highlight palette, and a contour palette as well, and I'm going to use this contour shade in the palette to apply it as just to bronze up the skin and around my nose area. So for blushes, I'm going to use the Canon Cosmetics blush in Dark Rose. I want it to be like a very nice rosy cheek kind of effect. And for highlight, I'm going in with this palette from Time Los Angeles. This is her Highlight Heaven Glow palette, and I'm using the shades Eternal and Heavily. So I do go in with a little bit of eyeliner from Urban Decay. This is their 24/7 Glide On pencil in the shade Whiskey. And I'm applying this instead of a black shadow. And I'm going to apply a little bit of that brown eyeshadow we apply in the outer eye. And I'm going to place that right underneath so that it can not run and it could just be all brown on the waterline and under the eyes. Then I'm taking a little bit of the orange shadow and dusting that right underneath the eye. And a little bit of VIP, I'm taking that in the inner eye. And then I'm taking this shade right here, and I'm applying that right in the inner eye, like more like a third of it. And then I'm going to set my face with the Color FX setting spray. And with this one, you do have to kind of put it really close to your face because it doesn't spray as good. So now I'm going to use this lip liner from Rimmel, and then I'm using the Morphe Brushes Liquid Lipstick in Hot Shot. This is the shade that Jaclyn Hill was using in her campaign, and she looked really beautiful in that one. So I wanted to try it out with this lipstick and this look. And I really love the combo of the dark lip liner with the hot red shade. This is the finished look. This is look number 2. I hope you like this one. I'm going to take the Tarte Shape Tape concealer and use that as my primer. and I'm going to set the entire eye. That way the whole eyelid can be a blank canvas for me to work on. I'm also going to use this to carve out the underbrow, and with this I'm using patting motion so that way it can be tacky for the eyeshadow to stick onto. I'm going to use the palette again, and I'm going to take the deep dark shade in the palette and apply that all over into the crease, a little bit on the lid, but don't worry, we're going to clean that up. And I'm going to wing this eyeshadow out so that way it can be a winged cut crease effect. And I'm using a flat shader brush from Unicorn Brushes. So like I said, I'm going to list everything down below so you can have access to what I used. Now I'm going to take this shade with a small blending brush, and I'm packing it and sweeping it at the same time so that that shadow can be vibrant right above the brown shade. And we're going to do a transition from dark to light as always, and I'm going to make sure that this is very opaque and vibrant onto the crease area. Now I'm going to take this shade with a pencil brush, and I'm going to go in between just to kind of have a in between shade from the orange to the dark brown. And I noticed it wasn't showing up as I was hoping for it to show up, and I was like thinking, okay, maybe I should have done that first. So I'm going in with this shade right here and applying that right above that orange to kind of have a little bit of a diffuse transition from the orange to the mustard shade. And I'm going back in with the orange shade to kind of make sure that that pops and it doesn't look muddy, because it does look muddy right now, but once you clean up and everything, it's gonna come along just good. You just have to be patient. Now I'm taking the Born This Way multi-use concealer, and I'm going to cut the crease. So you have to go by your eyelid. You can't do exactly how my eyelid is. You can just use my technique that I'm showing you here just to cut your crease. And I'm sure you heard my washing machine go off. So now I'm going to take VIP and placing that right in the inner eye first, and then I'm going to transition to a light gold shade onto the middle part of my lid, and then I'm going to go in with this shade right here as well, just to kind of like transition from light to dark. And I really like that the fact that these shadows are workable. I wouldn't say they're the best eyeshadows I've used, because I have other palettes that I really do love, but these are really good for an everyday use, and you can multi-use with this palette. Like, this is a great multi-purpose palette, and you can definitely create a lot of different looks with this palette. Now I'm taking this shade right here, and I did try to use my Dose of Colors flat shadow brush, and you can see right here it's really hard to pick up, so I have to kind of work with this with a little bit of spray, and just to see how well this is going to blend with the green shade. Now I'm taking the shade Top Secret and applying that into the outer eye. I know it's unusual to have like a brown cut crease and then adding a little bit of green, but this is not your typical green. This is like that army dark green shade, and I feel like it worked well with this shadow, and it kind of turned that shade right next to the green. It's already bronze, but it was like a green bronze, you know what I mean? So I just applied that into the outer eye, packing it and making sure that it's well blended so it doesn't look harsh from like this color to that color and that color. It has to all merge into one, like blending it nicely and cohesive. Now I'm taking these two eyeliners, Extra Baggage and the black eyeliner from Inglot. I'm going to start off with the brown eyeliner first, and then I'm going to go in with my Inglot gel liner. It's not a big difference from brown to black, so I don't know, you don't have to do this step. I just wanted to kind of play around with it just to see where this goes. And then I'm gonna apply some mascara and apply some lashes from Shopmimiartistry in the style Anti. And I am going to use a little bit of some glitter adhesive and a little bit of the glitter from Gypsy Shrine. And this is a different thing I don't normally do, but I just love how I sit down middle of the night, think of ideas, and I'm like, you know what, let me do that instead of adding like a shimmer shade in the outer corner, like the inner corner. So I wanted to do something different, but you can totally skip that. I'm gonna take this bronzer from Morphe. This is their Glam Bronze in the shade Mega Bronze, and I'm going to use this as more like bronzing up the skin, a little bit of contour, and this is buildable. It's very pigmented, so you have to be light-handed with this if you are my skin tone. Now I'm taking the Cover FX Perfector face palette, and I'm taking the shade Sublime Blush, and I was surprised how great this is. Like, this is a really nice palette, and I got this in my BoxyCharm, but you can purchase this. And now I'm going to set my face with the MAC Fix Plus, and I'm going to use this to cover up my eyes because I don't want the eyeshadows to crease. Now I'm going to use this MAC highlighter, and this is like their Hyper Real Glow highlighter, and I'm using Flash and Awe shade, and it's very pigmented. This is a very pigmented highlight palette. I'm so surprised that MAC came out with this trio palette. They have a gold one, and then they have this one. I think I would prefer this one because this is kind of for my skin tone. The gold one is not bad. It does show up, but I like this one better. Now I'm taking the iconic London Illuminator drops in Pearl. This is optional. You do not have to do this. I just wanted to go crazy with this and make my highlight beam. And this one is like, it's crazy. I went a little overboard, but I love it though. Now I'm taking MAC Strip Down Lip Liner, and then for my lips, I'm going to go in with the Beauty Crop Matte Liquid Lipstick in Rum and Raisin. This is a matte formula. I really like this formula. It does stay put all day, and it's a beautiful neutral like mauve tone lip shade. And I'm going to apply some eyeliner in my waterline, and this eyeliner is from Stila Cosmetics. This is their Smudge Kaija eyeliner in Intense Black, and I'm going to dust some of that shadow from the palette right under the eyes just to smoke it out. And I really love how this look came out. It's super intense. I love it with the lashes. It's not your typical cut crease, but you can definitely switch this up or you can recreate it. It's beautiful. And I'm gonna apply some mascara in my lower lashes. This is the finished look. I hope you guys like this look. Let me know which one was your favorite, and also let me know in the comments down below if you want me to do another look with this palette. And thank you so much for watching. Hit that thumbs up button and subscribe to my channel, and follow me on Instagram, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye.